something, and the other one would say, gosh, think I can do better than that, and try and make something.
When the Beatles entered the studio in early 1967, they were at the peak of their creative powers. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band had just shattered expectations of what a rock album could be. Every track they recorded was treated as an event. Budgets, once carefully watched, began to loosen. EMI trusted the band completely, giving them near unlimited studio time. For producer George Martin, it was both thrilling and dangerous. He admired their ambition, but remained the one person who worried about excess, about ideas that might spiral into indulgence. That tension came to a head with a song called You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. Unlike the carefully layered pop symphonies of Pepper, or the crisp singles that kept the band on top of the charts, this track was a chaotic inside joke. Paul McCartney and John Lennon conceived it late one night as a comedy skit disguised as a song. Instead of polished verses and a soaring chorus, they aimed for pure absurdity. Random voices, lounge-style piano, oddball percussion, and surreal humor. Sessions stretched on for years. The first takes started in 1967 at Abbey Road, right after the Pepper triumph. Then came more overdubs in 1969, well after the White Album, and during the earliest Let It Be tensions. Every time they returned to it, the project became stranger. They brought in saxophonist Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones for a cameo. They added tape loops, sound effects, and manic spoken parts. The tape reels piled up. For George Martin, the producer known for elegant arrangements and technical brilliance, it was maddening. He had happily shepherded revolutionary pieces like A Day in the Life, but this felt different. It wasn't avant-garde like their experimental sound collages, nor was it a sharp, concise single. To him, it was a private joke the public might never understand, an expensive one. Studio time in the late 60s was not cheap, even for the world's biggest band. Martin later admitted that he looked at the mounting hours and thought, "This is money we will never get back." The band, of course, didn't care. By this stage, the Beatles were untouchable commercially. They saw the studio as a playground. For Lennon especially, the chaos was the point. He loved that the track had no rules, that it mocked the very idea of polished pop. McCartney, always game for humor, went along enthusiastically. When the song finally surfaced as the B-side to the 1970 single Let It Be, it barely resembled a typical Beatles release. Listeners heard a bizarre 5-minute collage of nightclub chatter, fake lounge singing, and absurd repetition of the phrase, "You know my name, look up the number." Critics were baffled. Some fans embraced it as a hidden gem of Beatles weirdness. Others simply skipped it. George Martin remained unimpressed. For a man who prided himself on musical craftsmanship, it stood as the ultimate example of wasted resources. He never disowned it. He was too professional for that. But in later interviews, he didn't hide his view. It was, in his mind, the one Beatles track that truly squandered the immense talent and budget at their disposal. Yet, time has a way of reshaping reputations. What Martin saw as a frivolous expense has become a cult favorite. Today, You Know My Name, Look Up the Number is celebrated by die-hard fans as proof of the band's playful spirit. It captures a side of the Beatles rarely heard, unfiltered, laughing, deliberately ridiculous. It's a reminder that even the greatest band in history sometimes needed to break every rule and waste a little money just to amuse themselves. George Martin might never have changed his mind, but the song he once dismissed as a financial misstep now stands as a strange, joyful footnote in the Beatles' story, a testament to the freedom they fought for and the risks they were willing to take, even when their legendary producer thought they had finally gone too far.